Hey, hey guys. So welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. So it's Chandra here, and today we've got a very special tarot card reading, and this one is for Stacy. So we're just going to look at Stacy's situation. We've been in Mercury retrograde, and we've just stepped out of it a couple days ago, and so I've been kind of a little bit lax or a little hesitant to do tarot card readings because it does affect me. And sometimes I'm afraid that doing tarot card readings during that period of time will somehow be distorted. So I kind of have to go with my hunch during those times and that. So that's part of the reason. But what I want to do is I want to get a really good picture right now of really Stacy and her situation. She's been after this guy. This guy's been kind of after her. It's a long and complicated story, so I can't get into like every single detail or anything, but basically suffice it to say there's been this guy in her life that she met a while back, and he's had they haven't really actually met in person per se. And some people think of it maybe as like a sweetheart scam or something along those lines. Some people in her life have kind of given her some other information also. There's a lot of different things going on, and we just want to kind of make sense of what's really actually the case. The guy keeps making some promises like he's going to be there for her in her life, and he's going to show up and just be there, like they're going to be together and this, that, and the other. But then somehow something or other, something always comes along and kind of like pushes it back, or it just doesn't always work out. And the guy's a little bit mysterious. He doesn't want to like open up or be completely transparent about things, which is sort of a red flag, usually. And that's the thing, is like I hadn't really picked up a huge red flag on it. I did pick up that there's kind of like, the energy that I'm really picking up right now in this moment is that, I think in the beginning of this whole situation with this guy, what I'm feeling is that he wasn't ultimately sincere in his motives. And for that reason, he wasn't he wasn't attached. You don't get that attachment. The more that you become attached to something and love something and dedicate and, have involvement with something or someone or a personality of some type, the more that we become reliant on that thing, or the more it becomes the focal point of our attention, our heart's desire, and that starts to build. And over time, relationship happens, right? And as our relationships happen, and we start to move in these directions with things, then we find ourselves falling in love. And that's sort of the whole thing. That's like a lot of people say, like, as far as like Indian arranged marriages and things go, like, how does that really work out? If you don't even know the person, you're not in love with the person. Well, the thing is like the Indian concept of love, or sort of the mindset of things, at least when I was a kid, sort of, is that, people fall in love as they do things for each other, as they, share life experiences together, as they mold their lives together, as they build on the foundation that's been set. And so the foundation that's been set is one that's, you want to have a good, strong relationship foundation. Like if you're in a relationship with someone, or you're just getting started in a relationship, and you want it to be the one, don't shortchange yourself. And then you find yourself out of that relationship by not taking the foundational steps to kind of build on it. So it's like, don't give up on something just because you're having a rough spot, or things are not, going so well, or the way that you anticipated, or, give things a chance sometimes. And that's the biggest lesson that I think is worth talking about here on this channel, like with relation to this particular topic. Sometimes, like if you find someone and you have a good, even if you're not exactly sold on the person, or maybe you have some hangups about the person, or you're a little leery of the person, or this, that, and the other. Sometimes, if you're making that decision, and ultimately it's your decision, you have to decide, okay, is this someone that I want to pursue or not? And if you decide that, yes, it's someone I'm willing to pursue, understand that what comes along with that decision is the next step, which is giving it your all, putting everything in, loving at any cost. It doesn't matter if that person cheats on you. It doesn't matter if that person, does anything, takes advantage of you in some way, financial advantage, any of these kind of things. You can't base your love on other people's actions, is I guess what I'm kind of trying to put out there. You can base your decisions on those, but you can't base your love on those things. So like once you commit to someone and you start to show them love, yeah, it can be a rocky road sometimes for some people. I mean, you got to understand, everybody's got a different nature. Everybody's background is a little bit different. So what somebody would do in a given situation may be vastly different than what someone else would do in a given situation. So, it's just worth kind of understanding this as you go into something. We don't know a person's character. We don't know a person from the onset of a relationship often. That takes time. And then as time goes on, if you find that somebody's got, if you find that you fall out of love with someone or out of sorts with someone, you may move on. You may decide to go into a different direction or call it quits or, cut your losses or however you want to look at it. But if you look at love as the ultimate thing, and that's the experience that you're really out there for, then it doesn't really matter, I don't think. It's kind of my perspective on it. What is really lost? I mean, we were born into this world with absolutely nothing, and we'll end in this world with absolutely nothing. The only thing that truly matters is the experiences that we have and, the love that we put into the actions that we do. So if you're putting love into your actions and your actions are quote unquote work, that's another way of saying work is actions, then as long as your heart is in it, that's really the main thing that matters. And that's what I try to advocate on this channel is just, putting in the effort, but only doing it from the heart. If you're feeling resentment in it, then it's probably not love, or it's probably means that, it's time to maybe hang up the hat and maybe go on and move on to something else. As long as your heart is in it, then that's something that's sort of your litmus test, I guess is the way I would put it. And that's normally what you can kind of bank on. I mean, there's a lot of advice. There's a lot of things you're going to get from a lot of different sources, from different people. Me even, like even this tarot card reading today is a perspective on things. But when you get all this information, I think you need to have some sound principles to base decisions on. And those principles, I think the biggest principle here is that if your heart is in it, then it's love. It's coming from the heart. It doesn't matter if the other person loves you or if they do anything nice for you. Just that act of giving love and attention and focus to something or someone or a cause or whatever tends to elevate that cause. And eventually, it doesn't happen necessarily overnight, but eventually it comes back around to you and you'll see that. So anyways, let's do the reading. So today I'm just going to do, and this is not going to be a really long reading because I'm already picking up a lot and I'm seeing a lot right here. We're going to do a 5-card reading. And first thing is going to be the overarching theme of this whole thing, this whole relationship thing. We have this card here. Okay, so this is kind of like the card that kind of represents or signifies the entire reading in a sense, but this is kind of like just something that kind of is like it's something that's sort of like inherent throughout the reading. And you see this, you see the cups are relationships, emotions, feelings, all that. We have the water, the subconscious or unconscious. It's the deeper part of our psychology, our thinking, our mind. And then you have the person moving away from that, kind of going in other things. We see the moon is a little bit mysterious out there and stuff. And the moon can be like secrecy. It can also be things unknown or things that we don't necessarily see. And that's the overarching thing as we see through this. We also see the 8 numerology, the Roman numeral, which in numerology is really indicative of like this, trying to get foundational stuff underway. And foundations are also about like kind of the material. And so it's about building resources and doing things like that. So right now you see this guy, he's out there trying to focus in that direction. He's not really looking at the relationship so much, his feelings, his emotions on things. What he's really trying to do is the practical matters of things. It's kind of like the, get your financial house in order, get everything going for you so that you can take care of everything. And his belief system is that if he does that, all this other stuff will take care of itself. And he's had some ups and downs with it, and it's not been exactly clear. And we see that with the moon there present. And that's what we see. So the next card that we have this is kind of more of our past card. This is our Page of Swords. It's a message about thoughts, ideas, things. Where are we going to be at? Where's our life look? Where are we looking to, moving toward. And it's kind of this whole thing of like not really knowing. And so this message is it's a message of like thoughts and ideas and trying to do some planning, but kind of all in the head and not really having like anything per se put down in stone. So it's sort of like there's no clear strategy. It's not like verbatim, step by step, this is what we're going to do. There's sort of this thought of it, or this inkling of or this notion of it, but there's not this clear definitive pathway. That's been in the path. Where are we at right now? We're working. We've got the 8 again in numerology. Of course, I just mentioned this in that other card, which is the overarching theme. And it's this working hard, doing certain things in a certain way to get a certain result, to build on what we've been working on so that we can continue moving in that direction. So this is a money card. This is about, continuing to do what we've been doing in order to get the same results that we've been getting, and trying to refine our skills, get better at what we're doing, and that kind of thing. And so what I'm finding is like with this particular individual and all, probably also yourself, Stacy, to some degree, is you're trying to work in that direction of just continuing to do things that are going to bring in more success, more results, but also help with building that foundation. Again, this kind of card is a foundational card. It's one of putting things in order, putting the house in order. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. In the future and stuff, we have the Hermit. Hermit is about kind of going it alone, seeing things in a different way, looking at things, from a different vantage point from maybe what other people are looking at those things from. We have this, this individual here, and this is him, kind of like going it alone, like dropping some of the things in his life so that he can come more full circle and get back to what's really the most important things. So a lot of this foundational stuff will start to leave behind. He'll start more coming toward you. Expect to be by yourself for some time, but it's just part of that process. When you're building strong foundations and things are going, there is that kind of that painful period of time that it takes a little bit of time before things really start to come back more full circle and all. That's that little lag time. You'll see that for a little bit of time, not very long, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, something like that, maybe a little bit longer than that even, but not for an indefinite period of time. That Hermit card, it's a very light card, even though it seems like a very heavy card. It's really, in this particular reading, it's a really light card. How do we know that? Why do we get it? It all goes back to this card here. It's that we have the foundations, we have everything that we want, we know, we love everything that we cherish and all that, but we have to get it set up. We have to put things in the right. If we can put things in the right, then the rest will more or less take care of itself. That's at least what the thinking of this individual is. And that's where that Hermit card comes into play at. What else do we got? If 8s wasn't prominent enough, we also have the 8 of Wands. In this case, it's about swift decision-making and swift action. What does it mean? It means that our total outcome is going to be all about making those swift decisions, getting things on track, getting things back into our house back in order and all, and then really feeling a sense of security afterwards. And that's where this card is really coming into play at. Swift things are happening. But what does it mean? It's all about swift foundational planning and getting things built strong and sturdy. And that's what we're getting at. And that's where things are really ultimately heading. So I feel a really good sense of security about this relationship with you and stuff. I don't see it happening right away or anything, but if you let that foundational stuff happen, we do see that, he's swiftly doing this, but he's building this thing up. I see what's going on sort of behind the scenes with him, and he's putting in the hard work and the effort. It's just you can't really necessarily see it because you guys are having this separation, this separateness about things. So anyways, a lot of 8s in this card, a lot of 8s. It's all about materialism. It's all about money, financial, building things up, trying to get that. Less about the emotional and that kind of thing. It's sort of like we're just kind of eschewing that right now because we're so focused in that material foundational perspective. That's where he's at. So just expect that for a period of time. Will he come back around? Yeah, he'll come back around. But right now, he's got that Hermit. He's going to be kind of on this journey by himself for now, trying to get this thing rocked out. But will it come back around? Has he forgotten about you? No, he hasn't forgotten about you. Has he turned his back on you? That card, it looked like he turned his back on you, but no, that's not the case at all. Those are things that he's kind of got in his back pocket. Those are the things behind him. He's got his emotions, relationship, things that he cares about, feelings, all these kind of things that are very important to him, but he doesn't feel secure in those things until he can have this other thing going on. So that's really what's up. Anyways, much love, many blessings to you. I hope that this has helped you in some capacity. Again, just stay in the game. Don't Don't jump to conclusions too quickly. Enjoy the time that you can spend with them on the phone, through chat, email, social media, however you're connecting with them. Enjoy that as precious moments, because these are things that you'll later look back on and you'll be like, wow, those were good times. You know, we had some good moments there. It's something that you can't forget. You can't really put behind you in that. And yeah, everything will work out right. I have a really positive feeling for you on that. So anyways, thanks guys, everyone, for tuning into the channel, to this episode of Indirect Knowledge. Guys, you know, I do this on a donation basis, so anyone wants to help out or anything, they're more than welcome to, you know, keep the channel going, help us out here. You know, we try to do a lot of good work in this ministry and what we're doing. So if you want to help, you know, please do so. You can just go to helpbydonating.com. Anyways, much love, many blessings again, and I see you guys on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge. Take care.